But I think the main things is at the end of the day, volleyball is volleyball. It's in the same 9x9 court, and the rules are the same. So we. Is that on the back of your shirt?
Yeah, that's on the back of the shirt.
Muted. A little free shout out for you. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net. You need to still execute to the best of your ability if you want a chance to win.
That is right, Brett Walsh. Welcome back, boys and girls, to the 9x9's coverage of the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris. It is Thursday, August 8th. This is, I think, Everett, our 13th day in a row of going live for you all. We are exhausted, but we're not done yet. My name is Rob St. Clair, live from Chicago in the victorious United States. That is Everett Delorme in the victorious Toronto, Canada. Congratulations to your women on going to the finals in the beach tournament.
Thank you very much. I already know that you're going to be insufferable because not only did we see that yesterday you're a sore loser, but I'm pretty sure you're a sore winner as well. Rob has definitely been on the roller coaster of emotions.
Yes, I have
so far throughout this Olympics. And Rob, much like yesterday, we had one banger and one dud. One match that delivered on all accounts and brought it to the end and gave us 5 phenomenal sets. And one match that was 3 up, 3 down. A classic 3-dong, as we call it over here at Volleyball Source.
Good old donging.
Good old
Now, I will say
donging.
this donging today was more entertaining than yesterday's donging.
Very much so. At least Türkiye got off the bus and just got bested.
Yes, they did. Now, we will get to that. First and foremost, here is the bracket. It is official. The United States and Italy will play for Olympic gold on Sunday afternoon in Paris, France. Italy is guaranteed their first Olympic medal ever. And the United States has a chance to be the first team to go back-to-back since, I don't even know, Cuba in the 90s?
Ooh, that is a good question.
We should look that up.
We should be journalists, like proper journalists for once, and actually do our research.
Yeah, maybe. But again, this is our 13th live show in a row where we're pushing through it right now. But this is a matchup that I honestly, I don't think anybody could have predicted. And
I mean, that's no. I'm not going to sit there and say that no one could have predicted Italy and USA being in the finals of the Olympics. 2 of the best teams in the world being in the finals.
So that's a very interesting change of tune as we start with our
wait. We've never ever said. I have never ever said that the United States wasn't one of the best teams in the world. Right? They have always been amongst that conversation. Now, did I think? And this is always what you do. This is always classic Rob St. Clair. A little bit of doubt in their abilities. And then once they win, you're like, oh, well, look at what you said. You make like a friggin' anthill into a mountain. But yeah, like the U.S. in this one showed up. And once again, Rob, I think we talked about it a little bit in the preview that it felt like this American team was pulling all the strings of the bag in together at once. And rather than just being one drawstring, there was multiple. And they were finding the ways to get everything together. And now over the past 2 matches, just the past 2 matches, they have looked phenomenal, right? They have looked like that well-oiled machine. I think we're kind of at the point now, especially that I think we deserve one person at the very least, an apology.
Yes, we do. And I'm very ready to do that.
Yeah, he has proved us wrong. And
that is none other than the greatest player of all time, Kurai, who
and now arguably one of the, you know what? Hey, let's see how this tournament. Let's see how the rest of this tournament goes. But and ultimately, Rob, I'm going to say it out here right up front. I personally deserve a big, maybe not an apology, but to say to Catherine Plummer directly that I was wrong. Because over the course of the past few years, she's continuously fallen short for me. And I've been a little critical of that because I had such high hopes for her coming out of Stanford. But then this year specifically, how she was with Canigliano at the end of the year, and then how she's been throughout this Olympic run, today was really the top of the mountain for her, the way that she showed up. I think it was like 26 points.
26 points to lead all scorers.
Yeah. So Catherine Plummer stood up fantastic. And on one side of the net, Rob, the United States of America played, I'm not going to say a perfect game, but as damn close to it as you could have, minus that second set where they completely just fell asleep. And Brazil just, I feel like, once again, just kind of succumb to a fifth set and a semifinal game after being perfect leading up to this point.
Yeah, Everett, I think we have been fooled, and we owe a lot of people a lot of apologies. First of all, on Brazil's side, this was right here in front of us, and we didn't see it. They were perfect in the VNL, the first team ever to go 12-0 in the VNL preliminary round, and they failed to medal. They beat an inferior opponent in the quarterfinal, and then they failed to medal. I'm not saying they're not going to win bronze, but I guess I'll say perfect in the preliminary round, beat an inferior opponent, and then lost in a semifinal to a team that they were more talented than, which is exactly what happened here. So that happened again, and we didn't see it coming. The other thing that happened again that I did not see coming, and I am American, I still didn't see this coming, is this team putting it together for this magical run that they are currently on after the Olympic cycle that they have had so far. Now, I will push back on you hard by saying that anybody thought that there was a chance going into the Olympic Games that this American team was going to play Italy for gold. Nobody, probably outside of that locker room, thought that with the way that this team was playing, ourselves included. I did not think that this was possible for the American team.
Definitely
you
not.
did not think this was possible for this American team. We were wrong about that. And I am so happy to be proven wrong by what this team has done, because this Olympic cycle, they have not been good. They have focused so much, as I said when we previewed it before the Olympic Games, they have focused so much on the process at the expense of the result ever since winning gold literally 3 years ago today. The focus has been on getting back to this point. And nothing very positive happened in between, but I'll be damned, they're back at this point again.
Yes. Yeah. Once again, I do think that there's people out there who would have said this. Yes. Right. Once again, Rob St. Clair and his black and white absolutist that if he doesn't think it, it can't be. There's 100% people. You're telling me that there's no Italian Americans out there who are being like, I think it's going to be an Italian American final. Now, and I'm sure there's some smart people out there who would have thought it, but it definitely wasn't us. Right. It wasn't us, and it wasn't within our circle of volleyball people that is admittedly rather large due to the Discord and the amount of people that we talk about volleyball with on a regular basis is more than the average person. And I don't think anyone in our circles would have said it. Chat, if you're saying otherwise, you're lying.
You're lying.
Okay?
That's how impressive this is to me. And there's a lot I want to get into here.
Yeah, there is. Okay. What's the first thing? What's the first layer that you want to get into from this match?
The first and most important thing is the one thing that I said in our previews and in kind of the analysis of this team that is their one ultimate strength, and that is their strength together mentally. This is a better mentally prepared team. This is a more cohesive one single unit team than any other team in the world. And can
I pause you? I fully agree with you on that right now, but up until the last match, Rob, we wouldn't have said that.
Right. I agree, but
right?
We would not have because the results were so scattered, and kind of like the analogy that you made, it's like a big complex mechanical clock or a watch. I've got one on right now that is a good example. If you put one little grain of sand amidst all the gears, it doesn't function. And so we hadn't seen those gears work together until literally one match ago when we demolished Poland in an Olympic elimination game. But what I did say was that if this team was going to make another run to this point, and I said this pre-tournament, it was going to be done with superior mental preparedness and psychological readiness to perform at the Olympic Games again. And we were going to have to draw on that experience from Tokyo and everything that this program has worked to create to build a team, a true team. And that is what we saw today. And without that incredible togetherness that this program has built, this achievement does not happen again, because there are much more talented teams out there in the Olympic Games with better athletes, better individual volleyball players, maybe even better sums of individual parts. But even compared to Italy, who are about to play in the final, I'm really not sure there's a better team. There really isn't a better, more well-constructed team emotionally. And I have two examples from today's match that show this. The first is at the very end of the fourth set. The point that gave Brazil set point to win 25-23 was a reaching over the net call against Tiago Bogu when Roberto Ratsky, a back row setter, was reaching pretty far to get a ball that may or may not have been in the plane of the net. I'm not going to say the call was wrong. I'm going to say the call was 50-50 and questionable. But when after that call was made and Brazil was awarded the call, Karchkarai panicked and did the only thing that he could do, which was challenge for a net touch, because that invasion or reaching over the net call is not challengeable. And as he was receiving the information that the call was not challengeable, he told his girls in the huddle, even though he knew that they had lost the set, he said, this is not challengeable. Even if we don't win, even though we're not going to win this set, we are going to win this match in 5. I don't think very many other coaches or teams could handle that situation the way that they did. And the second thing, is at the very end of the first set. The point that won us the first set was an awesome transition play. It was a tremendous sprawling dig by Avery Skinner in position 6 to get the ball up. And then a very good bump set to Catherine Plummer, who killed it off the block and out of bounds for the win. Pretty quickly, that got posted on Instagram because the NBC Olympics, whatever in America that actually has rights, was promoting the game hard so that they could show all their commercials and take people away from watching the action. So they posted the set point clip on Instagram, and I commented right away, amazing dig by Avery Skinner, because I thought that made the play.
Good for you.
Even though that it was Catherine Plummer that scored, whatever. Not 10 minutes after the match was over, I got a notification on Instagram that Catherine Plummer herself liked that comment that I made. She wanted to give the credit for winning the set to her teammate. And that's, I think, a really cool thing that's unique to this team.
Okay, we're just reaching here. Rob's finding ways to bring himself into the story. Classic. I fully agree with you that this team played phenomenal. And they supported each other on the way. The way they bounced back from that second set was what surprised. I literally had to go back and watch that, Rob. Because, as you mentioned, my Canadian women also won a very great semifinal today. But we're here to talk to indoor. So I missed it. And when I opened up my laptop to watch the third set, I had assumed it was Brazil, given the way that they had dominated the previous set. And I literally had to, after this, go back and watch it. And you're right. Like, it was just that cohesive attitude that this team had. You know what? It's that stupid fucking American attitude of just keep going, just keep going. And you guys only display it when you're losing wars to smaller countries and dominating at the Olympics. And that's one thing that you guys do really, really well. You show up to the Olympics and do well. And we did talk about this kind of in our preseason or pre-tournament thing, that the United States has the ability to show up and, like you said, be mentally tough. But you're right. This team stayed mentally tough all throughout the entire time, and they really stayed cohesive. Right when things got down, like in the fourth set, or like in the second set when Brazil was dominating, or like in the fourth set when they were making that run, you could tell they would just support each other in like the simple ways in between the plays. And they never let one person like wallow in their own like little failures too much. It was really just like a steadfast reproduction of like what this team, I think, stands for, in a lot of ways. And it was really impressive. I'm honestly happy to say that I was wrong.
Me too.
Right? I'm happy to say that I was wrong. As much as I loved watching this Brazilian team, and I think that they're fire, I love watching, I love watching the U.S. win as well, except when it's against Canada. But luckily our girls aren't there, so I get to cheer for you, right?
And this, like these things that you're saying, like their body language when things are good, both going well and they're going poorly, and the way that they pick each other up and they don't allow themselves or one another to get very far down or up, no matter what's going on. That is trained and practiced with a lot of intention. That is not an accident. That is trained and practiced with a lot of intention and has been since Tokyo. that team really thinks of themselves as like a team of like 16 or 17 athletes. Because like there's 12 on the roster, but when we first named this Olympic roster, we named 5 alternates.
Yeah.
We named one alternate at every position. Like that's really how they think of themselves. And even I'm sure the girls who aren't dressed and aren't technically a part of this roster, I'm sure that they've and I hope that they feel a part of this and of this amazing thing that we've now achieved again. And that is intentionally built and practiced to treat each other and to treat themselves that way, top to bottom. And that is the magic of that comes through at the Olympic Games. And that's the cool part, is like because we talk about the Olympics being so different, which they are. Ask Brazil,
yeah,
ask Türkiye, ask China, ask Poland, like whatever. To build it for this and to get back to the gold medal match again because of how hard they worked to be mentally prepared is really, really rewarding for this team. And I'm thrilled to have been wrong, even about the fact that they may be less talented or they weren't playing their best volleyball coming in. Even though I think both those things might be true, it didn't matter. This is the Olympic Games and we are back playing for a gold medal. It's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. There's just so many things, like even like there's little things like there'd be timeouts and you see Jordan Larson taking Avery Skinner aside and giving her kind of like little pieces of advice like that. It seemed like even the bench was really just dialed in. And ultimately, Rob, I do think that it was this. It felt as though the U.S. was a smothering blanket today, and they just put out Gabi's fire. Right?
I like that.
Everything that they did, especially in that third set. Gabi, what was Gabi here in the third set? She only had 1 point. But that to me is where, like, you know, like when I went back, there was a string of points that Gabi just kind of, yeah.
Gabi in the third was 1 for 7 with 4 errors.
Yeah, just not great. And there was that string of points there that it just didn't happen for her. And you could tell that in and out of her mentality is kind of really what partially affected Brazil today.
Definitely. I like the smothering blanket over fire analogy a lot. And it was surprising, shocking really, to see Gabi struggle early the way that she did. Well, in set 1, she was 1 for 11 with 1 error, 0% efficiency.
It reminds me of when I coached college, like CCAA, and we had a very decent team all around, but we were undersized. And our goal every game was just to make their best player crack. Yep. Right. And that everything around the game plan, from like how you were going to serve them, how you're going to block them, how you're going to play defense on them, was geared to shutting them down. And that's, to me, how it kind of felt in the first set, because they were letting other Brazilian players score. And like Ana Cristina was kind of left open a little bit in this one.
Yeah,
and
she was.
It was clear to me that like their game plan was, we're going to make the 20-year-old beat us, right? We're going to make the rookie who's never done this before beat us. Instead, the one person who people have been making Instagrams and like TikToks about throughout this, being like, is this player the best player in the world? Is Gabi Guimarães the best player in the world? Instead, they made her go 1 for 11 in the first set.
And that's like the opposite of how I personally would have approached it if I was a coach, and is why Karch is going to a gold medal match and I'm sitting my ass right here. Like I would have thought, like, target Ana Cristina, which I think we did in reception, but like try and take her out of the game and assume that Gabi's going to get hers.
Yeah.
And it was really kind of the opposite of that. Also, I thought we did a tremendous job defending against their opposite position. I mean, Rosa Maria got subbed out like 10 points into the match and came back in and out sparingly, but that, like, our preparedness for not just the moment, but also the matchup was amazing. Just like, again, I am wrong, and I owe Karch Kirai an apology for what we were saying about him earlier in the Olympics. This was an amazing coaching performance. We bottled up a really good, emotional and balanced and skilled team. And especially in that third set, we like overwhelmed them in a way that, like, that doesn't happen to Brazil.
No, not usually. They did seem overwhelmed. I mean, a lot to me was kind of came down to your guys' blocking.
Definitely.
And while they were getting more one-on-one blocks and more stuff blocks, it was just the presence of your block. Like they were doing a lot to try to get away from it, go around from it. But then once again, in that fifth set, it was just all how your team supported each other. Plummer was fantastic. Skinner was fantastic.
Dude, Skinner was so good, especially for the moment. I thought the thing that I was most impressed about is how she received in the fifth set. They were going after her in the fifth set rather than Plummer, and she was nails. That was so impressive.
Yeah. I mean, Carlini coming in off the bench in the fifth.
She was so good too. Every
time
she came in.
5 digs in the fifth.
Yes.
Alone for Carlini. Like defensive, like once again, and you can tell when a team is completely bought in when they buy in on that team defense, and everyone understands their role completely and where you need to be, and nothing falls. And
that Carlini dig sequence was unbelievably big, and I thought Jordan Thompson was really good when she came in too. She blocked a couple balls, she hit smart shots in transition. But the team defense is a great point. Even I thought Haley Washington, when she served, dug a couple balls, which contributed to an incredible match by the two American middle blockers. Chiako Bogu and Haley Washington were both awesome, and it wasn't even necessarily in scoring. It was the presence, like you said earlier. Brazil really got nothing going in terms of middle attack the whole match, at least not that I felt an impact of.
No, not even. And that to me was a massive thing all throughout. And it felt to me as though whenever Thaisa was getting an opportunity, she was really trying to overcompensate and get really jacked up. Like she was 8 for 12, which is not terrible. Right over the course of 5 sets. I mean, she's getting what, under 12. Yeah, she's they had over
15
sets a match.
They had 15 attempts to the middle combined. I mean, Carl had 3 attacking attempts in 5 sets. That's 3 sets to the middle per set.
Yeah,
that's nothing.
I wish I could see proper passing numbers.
Yeah, me too.
From these teams. Because it just says how many receptions and nothing about the quality of them. But
whatever. I also thought Annie Drews very clearly outplayed Rosa Maria, 17 for 30 with only 4 errors. That's probably 410, 420-ish efficiency and an ace serve, and was big and taking confident swings in transition. And she played better defense than I've seen from her in a very long time. Annie's I mean, I think I can say this because I've played with her for 10 years-ish. She's not a very good defender, not historically, and she made a lot of plays today. She made a lot of plays in off-blocker defense that we were critical of earlier in the tournament that the United States was not making. And I totally agree with you. A really good indicator of if your team is truly together is when they strap it in and defend, when they put all that effort out there in backcourt defense as a team.
Defense is a mentality.
100%.
And mentality is easiest when you're doing when you're rolling and in that flow. And you know what? They were. So truly big ups to the American women. I didn't think it was possible. I mean, damn, I didn't even think they're going to make it to the semis. And
I was texting some people today, people are saying early, as classic fans and many dumb American fans that I know and I'm friends with, and you all are dumb and should not do this, are texting me 10 points into the match and is why is Plummer hammering the ball in the middle of the block? Why doesn't our offense look good? Why isn't Jordan Poulter good? What are we doing here? I said, first of all, it's 10 points into the match. Relax, which goes for every single one of you who's ever watched a volleyball match ever. Chill. And also, I thought that, even getting to the semifinals, I was stoked. I honestly kind of thought this team hit its ceiling. And I am so happy to be wrong about that.
Yeah, for sure. It was awesome. Sucks to be Brazilian. Sucks to be this Brazilian team. I know
they really thought this was it, dude. They really thought that Brazil really thought that this was their moment. And I can't, put my finger on why they didn't show up today. I think some of it is credit to the USA, but then some of it is between the ears for Brazil as well, because again, we saw it right in front of us earlier this season.
Yeah, this is the second collapse that we saw from them this season, and that to me is where you have to think it is way more. You have to see that it is way more mental, because they lost in 5 to Japan, and then they lose to 5 in Poland in the bronze medal game. So this Brazilian team has now lost 3 matches all summer long, all in 5, and all in like medal clinching situations, which is wild to me, given that you have a player in Gabi who's gone out there and been the MVP in a Champions League run, who's played for a championship level team, and you have that type of pedigree up and down the roster. So, yeah, I thought that it would be a given that that Brazil would show up with their best, and I don't think they played poorly by any means, but it wasn't their best.
No,
and
definitely not.
I think that they would agree on that. And it doesn't matter how you've been playing beforehand, right? It's Olympic volleyball and the Olympics in general is what have you done for me lately?
That's right.
And if it doesn't matter if you've been amazing all tournament long, if you show up at 75%, even 80% in an Olympic semifinal, that's not going to pass muster.
That's right. So Gabi's stats, set one, attacking, Gabi was 1 for 11 with 1 error. Not good. Set two, 3 for 11 with 2 errors. Brazil actually managed to win that set.
Yeah.
Set 3, 1 for 7 with 4 errors. Then she woke up in a big way in set 4, 7 for 11 with only 1 error, kind of put the team on her back. Set 5 is where the backcourt defense for the U.S. came in, 3 for 7 with no errors, but those 4 continues, those balls that we dug and turned on Brazil in a lot of cases like that. So what's that total? 15 for 47 with 8 errors.
That's not a Gabi stat line.
No, it's not.
No, that's not a Gabi stat line. So that's too bad, because it is unfortunately a Gabi stat line for the Olympic semifinals. And yeah,
what have you done for me lately?
Hey, whatever. Like, big players play in big time matches, and you need your big players to play well for you in your big time matches. And today, they didn't. And today, the United States' players maximized every single ounce of potential they could muster, and they got the job done.
That's right. And the last thing I think to say about this is, of the 4 teams that we have in the gold medal matches on either side, men's and women's Everett, only 1 got there without losing a match. That's the Italian women. The U.S. lost to China in pool play. France lost to Slovenia. Poland lost to Italy. I think that there is really something to being battle tested, and you and I have both said it at different points in the Olympics. And I thought that this Brazilian team would be impervious to that weakness, even though they had gone 12-0 in sets coming in, but turned out a little differently.
Yep. No, Brazil. Once again, it wasn't as bad as Italy yesterday. However, or the Italian men, sorry, but it wasn't Brazil's best performance.
Yeah, it also isn't the same as the U.S. men, who lost in 5 after playing, I think, an almost perfect match and lost to a better team. Brazil did not play an almost perfect match today.
No, they left things to be desired.
Yes,
absolutely, for sure. And that's too bad. Well, Rob, go ahead.
Let's fulfill our sponsorship obligations before we move on and talk about the second match.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was gonna let you lead it, because you're better at doing the VBTV.
I would love to remind you all that you should pick up a subscription to VBTV, and not only should you do that, you should use the code VS10 to save some money on it. And because you know that you're going to do this, it's not if, it's when, because you all are going to watch Super Lega and Lega Volley Femminile this fall. If you like beach, that's where you're going to watch it. If you like VNL and World Champs next summer, that's where you're going to watch them. So you're going to do this, and you might as well use our promo code VS10 in order to do so and save some money. There's a direct link in our YouTube description if you want to go there and pick up your subscription now. If you want to wait a month, that's fine too. But whenever you do this, use the code VS10. It will save you a little bit of money, and it will kick back a little bit to us. It is a win-win.
Absolutely. And while you're at it, you can head over to shop.volleyballworld.com and pick up the official Olympic Games Paris 2024 game balls from Mikasa. You've got the beach one, you got the indoor one, you can get the real game ball, you can get the replica game ball, you can get the mini game ball with the cool and crisp Paris 2024 logos. And Rob, you can even get it. Even comes with the Olympic rings. Like, that just seems bad.
You guys have no idea how much you would normally have to pay to get the Olympic rings on anything. How protective the IOC is about that.
On any. So make sure you guys go pick that up over at shop.volleyballworld.com.
Yep. There's a link in our description to that as well. All right.
1 second, Rob. Before we actually get into this, can I just address our chat for a second?
I was worried about this.
Bro, you guys just spent the good part, all of you Europeans, and it's Europeans, let's be fair, just spent the entire time throughout this match telling me why you're not racist. And every single match in this tournament, you sit here and complain about the naturalized players on different teams. Every fucking team has a naturalized player. Every fucking country has immigration. Stop fucking complaining about it. You all sound like a bunch of whiny little bitches complaining that someone else has a different color crayon than you. Like, god damn it, it doesn't fucking matter.
It's
embarrassing. Every single team has naturalized players across every single sport. Were you complaining about Zaitsev? Back in the day, no. Stop this. And seriously, I'm going to get a moderator. If you're in here making comments about race that are completely off chat, I will start kicking people out. I don't give a shit if our views go down. This is stupid. If you're acting this way in the chat, you need to grow up. You need to kick rocks, okay? Be better. We're not football fans. We're not soccer fans. By football, I meant Europeans. Okay? Stop with this bullshit.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous, you all. It's like, it reminds me of how lucky we are in many ways to be North American, where we wouldn't have a second thought of any of these of any of these things.
May, you're going to be the first one to go. I promise you. Shut the fuck up. Sorry.
Stop. Yeah,
I'm done.
Get this out of here, and we will start banning people. And I completely agree. On that subject, we're not going to touch any of all of that nonsense because it has nothing to do with the fact that just now Italy beat Türkiye 3-0 again for the second time in a week, and Italy will play for their first Olympic gold medal in their history. They are guaranteed to win an Olympic medal for the first time ever in the history of Italian volleyball. That is an unbelievable achievement. And Everett, they look so good doing it. Italy looked amazing today. I wouldn't even say that, like, and again, this is not the same thing as what happened to the Italian men last night, where they completely did not get off the bus. That was not the case with Türkiye today. They just got beat by a better team.
They did. I thought that Türkiye put as much as they could today in front of them out there, right? I don't think that this is a losing 3-0 here isn't a full indication of this team's progress and their overall ability. Right? This isn't a 3-dong and being like, oh, they never had a chance. I do think that some of the injuries coming into play with this Turkish team are a huge factor, especially with Zara Güneş, who it looked like she was struggling today.
Oh yeah.
And then ultimately, there's just a little bit of lack of something on the left side. The outside hitter position is a huge lack. And both of us said, whether it was yesterday or today, that you're going to need Everett out there to get the job done and to win. And she started the first two sets, Rob, and atrocious is really kind of the word that comes to mind for her. She was 3 for 14 with 3 errors, so 0% efficiency for Everett, and it leads to the question of why she wasn't playing left side all year long or all summer long, because there was clearly a hole there. Because even though Janari and Silla aren't the best options on the outside. On the outside, they knew their role and they were able to get the job done.
Exactly.
And it supported everything that Paolo Egona was doing.
100%. Yeah, we were right in that Karakurt needed to start, and that Türkiye needed her not just her energy, but her top level production to have a chance in this match. She started and she was bad, like straight up. She hit 0. Her stats on the tournament: 20 for 69 with 14 errors.
Yeah, 69.
Nice. Like, that's bad. She was bad this tournament, straight up. And
Yeah.
that is what it is. I know, like, this club season, she went to Russia. She took a huge paycheck to play opposite the whole year. Maybe that hurt her. I don't know. Hindsight's 2020.
It
But
looks like there's a lot of people who've been in the Discord saying that Russia kind of effed her up, even though it looked like she was also the top scorer of the league. So I don't really know.
and now, like, comment in the chat, like, what happened to Abrar today? Like, this was the whole tournament. Like,
Yeah,
she played like this. She played like this the whole tournament, and that sucked. And I thought Italy did a very good job of putting pressure on her. I mean, that ball was at the first set or the second, I don't know, but the ball was like in Hande Baladin's platform in the seam, and Abrar just like kicked at it and got aced. I think it was late in the first by Silla. That was just ridiculous. The other thing about this, Türkiye led in every set. Every set. They led 16-14 in the first. They led 15-13 in the second. And they led 18-15 and also 20-18 in the third. So it's not like they weren't in the game. It's not like they didn't get off the bus. They were making a fair number of plays. But late in the sets, man, was Italy night and day better. And that, to me, is both coaching and it's mental. And those definitely go hand in hand.
Late into sets, you could just tell that Italy's energy throughout this game was really relaxed. Like Egonu, and people were talking about it in the Discord, that Egonu looked like she was playing at an open court, like an open gym on a Saturday night, not in the Olympic semifinals.
I couldn't believe how kind of casual she looked, but she was still producing at an insanely high level.
She looked so casual and so
crazy.
Good. Italy, just at that point of the game, like to me, it was literally like it was like the 1500 meters where they were going at a pace that like they kind of let Türkiye set the pace and be like, you guys go ahead. You guys start.
And we know exactly where the finish line is.
And we know exactly where the finish line. And as soon as they got into that last lap, and it was just like zoom, and they would go off. And that's when their serving would dial in. 5-8 to no aces. The advantage for Italy, which was one of the big ones. The serving was a massive one. Türkiye was doing really good at trying to limit errors. Only 3 errors on the day from the baseline for Türkiye, but it really just shows that they just weren't putting much pressure on at all. Once again, no aces on the day. And you know what, in blocking as well too. Like if you look at how they took over at the end of the third set there, Sarah Farr with 2 massive blocks, and it like erased the 2-point advantage for Türkiye.
That I think goes into the fact that Türkiye didn't have the most offensive left side presence established, because Italy got big clutch timed blocks on Melissa Vargas late in all 3 sets.
Yeah, absolutely. It was at that point they would just dial it in, and at that point they would just figure it out, and then you would give it to Egonu, and Egonu gave us an all-time performance. Right, in a 3-setter, what did she score here?
24 points, 21 for 43 with only 4 errors. That's probably in the high 300s, if not 400 efficiency. A block and 2 aces.
8 points a set.
It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible, and and how casually she was doing it too, and the range with which she was hitting every angle, every shot. Her off speed, I thought, was really good. Like the one in particular where she held her hand up as if to tip early. Gizem Orge made the read, charged, and she tipped it right over her head. Genius. Just like on another level today. But paired with that is maybe the best double sub I've ever seen in volleyball.
That was my next point, Rob, is that I found that in every single set, one of the sparking factors is bringing in Katarina Antropova.
It's so good.
So good. And I mean, the big effect was in that she scored all of her points in that third set. In the 3 rotations and serving the back, she got 3 kills and 2 aces. 5 points in the third set coming in off the bench for that double sub. And it just completely knocks you off guard, because you've just dealt with Egonu in the front row. So as soon as, and because everyone knows how it is when you have that one player you're keying in, it's like, okay, good.
Get him to the back row. Thank God.
They're in position 2.
Yeah.
At least they've scored, and at least Agoniu's in the back now. But then no, you just got Velasco's going over there, just a little tweet, double sub, and you've got to be on your heels again. And Antropova is, I'm not going to say just as good, but in the conversation of being just as good, has the potential of being just as good, and is elite. While providing a way different look. So it's all of a sudden I need to change from I'm trying to block up here and she's hitting hard shots to, and also Agoniu loves the tight set to go over top, whereas Antropova plays off the net. So you're just messing with their blocking. You're messing with their defenders. And it was outstanding today. And then that would happen, and it would just get that in the third set of especially when, like Türkiye was leading late. Like it was 20-18. And even before that, like I think they had a bigger lead, and Antropova came in and really made a difference for Italy's energy and just really cranked it up for them. Yeah,
it was actually relatively early in the third that Antropova came in. I think it was like 13-11 Türkiye, which is a lot earlier than they would typically make that sub. But Velasco sensed that they needed an energy shift, and she came in. And then by the time Antropova went out, it was 18-16. So 18-16 Türkiye. After that one like really weird officiating scorekeeping weird thing in the third, whatever that was.
I do know what happened. So because it was like the play happened, and someone called it down, and then Türkiye got upset. So the ref was like, I'm going to call the replay. And he was calling the replay to basically say that it was up, and then Italy went and challenged it.
That sounds right. And it resulted in a replay, and then they got the score wrong, and nobody knew what was going on.
Yeah, because the original challenge call, even though the original challenge call was made by the referee, and then they went from it there, but. Yeah, that was weird. I mean, that may actually be just one of those things too that kind of took a little bit of the wind out of the sails of Türkiye.
I mean, definitely, it was just like a weird little stall when Türkiye probably had momentum, and then when they came back from that, that was around the time that Sarah Farr went on one of the best blocking runs I've ever seen. She was everywhere.
Listening to the international commentators too, being like, "Oh no, that was definitely down." I was like, "Were you watching the same replay that we were?"
Well,
in what world do you think? Like,
trying so hard not to even talk about commentary this whole tournament.
I know it's been frustrating, but it ultimately, Rob, Vargas was starting to look a little frustrated towards the end, and like, I understand she doesn't get a lot of help out there. And that is the massive difference between last year's Türkiye team and this year's Türkiye team. And it really is too bad. I'm going to be really interested to see how they bounce back to play in the bronze medal match, because this is a team that still has never been to the semifinals.
Correct.
Right? A bronze medal at the Olympics would be massive for the team.
Huge.
Team. I know that the expectations are a gold medal, but the reality is that those expectations have only been in place for one season. You had one season where you've played fantastic, and that's it. That's all. I'm not saying that you guys are bad, and I know that the delusional Turkish fans who can't listen for more than 2 seconds are going to go after me on this, but you guys haven't been that good for that long, right?
I think some of the Turkish fans that have joined us recently that are intelligent and watch games and know ball will agree with you on this.
No, our Turkish fans who are in the Discord are smart, but the thing is that Türkiye is like Japan, where they have a lot of people who care about volleyball. And with a lot of people comes a lot of idiots.
Right. Good problem to have.
Good problem to have. Once again, on that note, I was like on TikTok the other night, and it was just like fan video after fan video of how upset they were that Japan lost, and that kind of warmed my heart a little.
Yeah, me too.
I love that you guys care about these athletes that much.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's the same way that I felt when the U.S. lost yesterday, and the same joy that I felt today. Like it's. Yeah. Sports are sports, man.
Sports.
I wanted to talk about Melissa Vargas. We haven't talked about her much. Her stats today: 17 points on 17 kills, 43 swings, and 8 errors. I've never seen her get dug so much. Italy did an unbelievable job setting up block and defense against her. I was so impressed by that. Part of it is that Karakurt wasn't there to be a legit presence on the left side. But again, just like we've talked about Italy's strengths this whole summer under Velasco as they went to win VNL, and one of the things that they were so impressive at is the details and the execution level of block defense. They were awesome today against one of the best scorers on planet Earth and maybe ever.
Yep. Yep. I don't know if I thought I was going to say this, but Santarelli got outcoached.
Yes, he did.
I found Santarelli got outcoached. Velasco was complete class. Complete class. This team was prepared. They were ready to go. And they got the job done.
If Julio Velasco wins Italy a gold medal on Sunday, the Federation, I don't know what the Federation can possibly do to make it worth this man's while, because what a job.
Gold statue.
Seriously.
Considering what he's already done for this federation.
Unbelievable.
Before all of this, gold statue for Julio Velasco in every Italian city that cares about volleyball.
Without question.
Like before Superlega games and Lega Volley Femminile games, they will, instead of the Italian national anthem, they're going to sing to Julio Velasco. If you guys want, Rob and I can partner with Tommy and Monty, and we'll teach you guys. We'll write a song for you.
Yeah, we'll write a song, including Velasco running around going like this after Argentina.
That's all that's been running through my head.
What a great clip. Oh my God.
We can't do it too much. Don't want to get demonetized.
Right.
I do before we go on to the bracket and predictions, I do want to say that Velasco's ability to create defined rules on this team and make people understand and embrace and appreciate their rules is massive. And none of that is more clear than Antropova coming in as she has been, coming in off the bench, right? It's really easy to kind of have that mentality of being like, I'm the third best scorer on this team right now, and I'm getting a fraction of the playing time than everyone else is. It's easy to have that thought sneak into your head and become a bit of a cancer. But the way that the team reacted to her coming in off the bench and serving that ace, especially that second one, people were making jokes in the Discord being like, racism is done. Agono's hugging Antropova. There's no way that Antropova and Agonu would have been hugging last year.
No
right?
chance.
No chance. And I don't think that there was any animosity between them. And I don't think that's not all what I'm saying. So if you're going to quote me on that, it's
all about Mazzanti.
But yeah, it's all about Mazzanti and him trying to almost pit the players against each other. And I know coaches do this. I've worked with coaches who have told me I want to see if them compete each other, and they're talking shit to their players. What are you doing? And yeah, the difference on this Italian team is night and day because of Velasco, and you can tell by the way the entirety of the team has bought in and really come together. And that's going to be really interesting because when you look at the finals, that togetherness, that cohesiveness that the United States have thrived on and really need is also there present in Italy. So I think this is going to be fantastic. Before that, Rob, we should preview Brazil versus Türkiye.
Yes.
And on the men's side yesterday, I said we didn't really need to break it down because these were two teams that I think it was just more of the mental battle about getting who's gonna show up in that bronze medal match, the Americans or the Italians on the men's side. Whereas in this one, I think that both teams have a little bit more on the line, and there's going to be a little bit I think that this one's going to be more interesting. Both teams are going to show up for it. I don't know why I think that. Maybe it's because we're being stupid and playing the women's bronze medal match after the men's gold medal match.
That is really stupid.
What is going on here?
Really stupid.
And we can't even blame our favorite people either. So anyways, that's an Olympic fault, right? So
yeah, it is.
But in this matchup, I think this one's going to be interesting. I think this one's going to be spicy, right? You said
the fan bases, at the very least, the Brazilian and the Turkish fan bases, who are already probably hating each other in this very live chat, that is going to be spicy. Doesn't even begin to cut it. That's going to be sauce number 10 on Hot Ones. That's going to be like straight up fireworks with some serious vitriol in it. The comments on social media will be something else, because these fan bases do not like each other, and they have never even come close to playing each other on a stage bigger than this. I still think that there is a lot on the line. I completely agree with you about Türkiye. That a bronze medal for them would be a massive deal. It would be a massive deal because they are new. They are new to being this good. They are new to being in legitimate medal contention at the Olympics. I mean, literally, this is their first time ever playing for a medal, but it's also their first time really having a chance. And I think that really matters a lot. And on the Brazilian side, the Brazilian women remind me of the Italian men. They're not a bronze medal team to me. I think the final is their expectation and is definitely like the pattern of where they've gotten in Olympics past and in major tournaments past. And although for the Brazilian women, it's been silver more often than not, like they get to the final.
Yes.
I am really curious to see how they respond to the fact that they're playing for bronze. And I'm not going to, it's like, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. I can't look at the Brazilian pattern from VNL and go against it again. Türkiye in 5. It's the exact same pattern. We've seen it literally exactly the same up until this very moment. I have to stick with it. Türkiye in 5. It's the exact same thing as VNL.
Because also, too, Rob, is that this Turkish team knows these Brazilian players very, 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 very
correct.
Well. Thaisa, Gaba, Anna Cristina, Julia Bergman,
Macris and Roberta Rotsky, I think.
Yeah, all of these players play in Türkiye. Or have played in Türkiye. I honestly, I tend to agree with you in that one. I do think it's tough. I think Brazil's still going to have a decent showing. But I think that this match is going to mean more to Türkiye.
That's right? Well said. I completely agree with that.
I think that this match is going to mean more to like a Melissa Vargas or, something like that. So,
Gabi already has an Olympic medal. A lot of Brazil already have Olympic silver medals from 3 years ago. Nobody on Türkiye does, and Melissa Vargas in particular.
Yeah, I agree. But you know what, Rob, with your luck so far, you should probably just pick against them.
Yeah, my reverse jinx has been
honestly
overwhelmingly powerful.
I think you need to pick against the United States,
and I will. I am going to pick against the United States. Now I have like, there's been an element of both in each of my previous 2 picks in this medal round. I thought that Poland was more talented than us, which maybe they were, but we completely mopped the floor of them because they weren't ready for the moment. Yeah. I thought Brazil was more complete and they were playing better and they had like more real, like vivid gold medal aspirations, which I believe they did. But again, we beat them mentally. We were more prepared and we were more cohesive. The thing that you said as we were starting to come into this bracket was the fact that the closest other team in this tournament to playing like a team truly like the United States is Italy.
Can you slow your roll yet? I mentioned the United States for once, and you didn't even give me to make a chance to pick my Brazil Türkiye.
Well, you said you're picking Türkiye too.
Yeah, but I wasn't done yet. Just give me off. What was I gonna say? I have one last thing. Oh, now I know. I think one of the big question marks for me for Türkiye for this bronze medal match is the state of and status of Zara Güneş. Because I wonder now if she's going to be playing in this match, if now that they're not playing for gold, because she's been coming out and talking about kind of how injured she was, and I've mentioned I don't think she's playing at all if this isn't the Olympic Games.
I agree with that. She does not look like herself.
Does she get a start in this bronze medal match, or you go for Kalac instead? What would you do?
I would leave it up to Zara herself.
All right, that's fair.
Honestly, I think that's what I would do, and that's what Santarelli probably will do. So, like, do you feel like you want to play this game?
Yeah, that's fair.
And it is a bummer because she totally doesn't look like herself out there at all.
No, and that's too bad. You always want to see teams at their full strength.
Yes, you do.
The reality is that that's never possible.
Especially not with the way we treat athletes in volleyball.
Yeah, no. Off season? Never heard of her. Never heard.
I'm seeing clips of guys like Gage Worsley, for example, is back in the gym with Lundberg today. It is August 8th.
Well, I mean that to me is a little bit different for someone, and like that's not uncommon for most.
It's not uncommon, but it should not be acceptable to have such a limited offseason.
But Gage Worsley has been off the entire time. Gage Worsley hasn't been right. Gage Worsley plays grass on his own volition, right?
No, it's just an example, and I'm talking about the calendar that could just the same affect athletes who play for their national teams.
But yeah, no, national team guys are never brought in August. That's it's always been like other guys go in August, and then the national team guys go in September, and kind of when they're ready. But obviously not here to talk about the seasons, Rob. This is one of the biggest matches for the USA in this one, trying to go back to back for how many teams have gone. We never even looked at that. Women's
I'm looking it up right now. Continue.
Yeah. Does the USA have the ability to shut down a team who has been a steamroll this year? And now it's interesting because on both the men's and the women's side, we have the VNL champs who will be headed to the finals. So does the USA have the ability to stop the steamroll that has been Italy? And Italy has been a steamroll so far. Can their blanket of their smothering blanket make a difference like it did against Brazil? Can they smother Egonu in the way that they smothered Gabby? I think that's a much taller task.
Just because of the physicality and Gabi definitely played with a lot more emotion than Egonu did today. I mean, you saw how casually Egonu was moving around and still dominating people. I do think that we will see a more explosive and more physically engaged looking Paula Egonu, even though the result will likely be the same. Like the Egonu that we typically see in the Champions League final, who's just locked in, loaded, like an absolute killer, like visibly scary to watch and play against. Like that's the Egonu that I expect in this gold medal match. And matching up against her is damn near impossible. I've said for a long time that of the elite opposites, I think that Tiana Bošković is the easiest to defend against, just because that understanding what it is that she does and being physically capable of slowing her down and block her defense, I think is the easiest of the four. I think Paula Egonu is the most difficult of the four. The way that she hits the ball is so impossible to stop because it's so unique. Her arm is so weird in a good way. She's so elbow dominated, and she loves the ball tight, and she loves to get it really high and hit all these crazy, crazy shots. It's like nothing you really ever have seen before. No. Fortunately,
I actually agree with you on this point.
A good number of our players have seen this before. Catherine Plummer in particular. That is a big matchup to look at. Catherine Plummer is 6'6". She is a very good left side blocker, and she just beat Paula Egonu head to head in both the Champions League final and I don't think they play them in the Scudetto playoffs. No, Scandici beat Malonza. But Catherine Plummer, of all people, is equipped to and has the knowledge of how to block Paula Egonu. I'm not saying that she's going to do it, but I'm saying that with that knowledge combined with the coaching ability and research and preparedness of the United States, I think we're going to do our best.
She provides the best. If she's not going to block her outright, and the reality with Egonu is why she's so good is that she doesn't hit down a lot, right? And especially the men love hitting down because they love getting the big bounces where Paolo Egonu plays up high. And one of
higher than everybody else.
Higher than everyone else. And one of the big differences between Egonu for playing for Malonza and Egonu playing for the Italian national team is that in Malonza, they try to set her off the net, which is crazy because it's still Oro. But of the Italian national team, they set her tight to the net. And the thing is with Plummer and even Avery Skinner's blocking is that because they are so high, it's less about getting your hands in front of it and slowing down the ball. But as you're up, no, I wouldn't even say it's about a soft block, but it's for every inch that you're going over the net towards the ball, you're covering a foot or a meter behind you. I forget what it is. So their ability to play up high in the block is going to take away some of those angles for Egonu. Whereas, she's probably going to have 30 to 40% less area to swing at because of the blocks of both Plummer and Skinner. Not to mention that when you're talking about another player, both two players who know her really well, you've got Washington and Abogu. And, Washington especially knows Oro on an intimate level from having seen her for so many years in the Lega Volley Femminile, and Abogu's the same thing, having played them a lot in the Champions League. So there's going to be a lot of recognition there. For me, the question is does the USA have the firepower to break through Italy? And that's exactly where you're seeing that Italy might be the best blocking team on the women's side.
I think they are,
with how they read and how they compete for balls. But they also back that up when they're on their top of their game with a really stellar block defense. Can USA put enough pressure consistently and at important times, enough pressure to put Italy in a bad enough spot that they can't just bail themselves out with a miraculous dig and a high ball set out to the right side?
Right. That's an excellent question and is the most important matchup to me. It's not even about slowing down Paula Egonu necessarily. It's about having enough of a combination of players to fight fire with fire in terms of offensive output. And that, to me, the most important player in this matchup is Jordan Poulter. I thought she was really good today at the setter position. Definitely, I think the best match of her tournament, or like she continues to build in her recovery, obviously. And I wouldn't say she was super good in pool play, but she's playing better and better. She is going to have to somehow outsmart and outthink a very good blocking team in Italy for our offense to have a chance to compete with what they can do offensively. And sure, we might be decently equipped to slow down Paula Egonu, but this is Paula Egonu we're talking about. Like, no, yeah, right. I'm not expecting to stop her. I'm not really even expecting to contain her. But like, if she hits over 500 efficiency, we have no chance. Like maybe if we can do a little bit better than that. But the combined output on offense on our side has to match or beat what she does herself for us to have a chance.
Paolo Egonu is a forest fire, right? You can't salvage it. You can't stop it. You can just do what you can and hope that you can douse it just a little that it doesn't destroy all your village. Shout out to all the forest fighters out there in Alberta right now who are just getting mucked. It is a very hard task to quell the fire that is Paolo Egonu, right? So can they do it? Basically, can you do it for 3 sets? Because you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it over 5, right? You're not going to do it consistently over 3 sets. But can you do it enough in like 3 sets over 5 to really get the to really put them in a bad position? Like, where can they find? Like, in the same way that they broke Gabi, because you can't break Paula in the same way because she doesn't really. It's not that she doesn't play defense, but she's not as big in defense and she's not in serve receive. Who are you going to try to break? Are you going to try to go after Sila? If I was me, if it were me and I was Karch, everything goes on Sila. 100%. The weight of the world goes on Sila. You want to put a free ball over, Sila's handing it. I don't care if she's like in the perfect position to handle it. You're making her think. You're making her move. You want to, like, it's just like the water drip torture, right? Where a few drips at a time won't matter. But once you get into the 4th set, into the 5th set, if you've been leaning on Sila for that long, she might break. Right?
I completely agree with that. And Sila, by the way, today was outstanding.
She's been outstanding this entire
really
tournament.
Good.
I thought that Miriam Sila has been played the tournament of her life.
I agree.
She has been consistently good. She has been good in serve receive. She's been good defensively. She's been good in offense, both out of system and in system. Her first ball side out, I thought, has been fantastic. And she brings in a lot of fire and attitude. And it is, to me, it's a big if you can break. It's not about like, hey, like we're gonna go after Scylla and like we think that we can break her. Of course, you have to think that you're gonna break her if you're gonna go after her, but that's a big if. Like, you got to bring some heavy artillery if you're going to be able to break her.
But that is the player to go after, like without question. That's the player to go after, just like it was Ana Cristina today as far as serving targets go. Yeah. Somebody asks, what do you think about the matchup between Annie Drews and their left side blockers? I like it. Actually, there was a ball that Annie today pulled down the line, which is a shot that she's never been that good at. That's what we're going to need to do. She cannot get away with challenging the middle blockers on Italy whatsoever. She's going to get housed time and time again if she tries to go at Farr and Denesi. Everything she does has got to be forcing the ball down the line or tooling the high parts of the block of Bossetti and Sila specifically. Stay away from the middles. That's a big theme of playing against Italy on offense because their middles are so good. And that, again, comes down to Jordan Poulter, the offense that she can set to keep Denesi and Farr just a half step behind of where they've been this entire Olympic Games.
Yeah, I think this matchup is going to be really interesting because there is a lot of knowledge about, like, all of the Americans have played in Italy, essentially. All of these players have played with each other. And I think that is going to make for some interesting dynamics because they know each other intimately. And now you're on the biggest stage, right? As good as Italy has looked, anything can happen.
Right.
And as average as the U.S. has looked up until these past two matches, anything can happen.
Yeah, anything can happen. And there will be so much in the next 2 days. So the gold medal match is 3 days from now. They have 2 full days off. The coaching and the preparedness and the research and the scouting and all that is going to have to be on point, and it will with both of these teams. These coaches should be trusted as much as any to get these teams ready for this moment. And if the United States is going to win this match, we're going to have to win. We're going to have to win the battle mentally again, and this will be the toughest opponent to break mentally that we've played so far. Yeah. But we're going to have to do it again. And I love the way that Italy has gotten here because they've shown that mental preparedness and that togetherness of the team. And for that reason, I'm picking Italy 3-1. I'm sticking with what I've picked for the entire tournament, that I think this is Italy's year, and I think they're going to win Olympic gold. It sucks. Like, there is a world where we beat them, and it starts with Paola Egonu having an uncharacteristically bad day. If she had, I mean, we've seen it before, not this summer, but we have seen it before where she sprays some balls out of bounds. If we get lucky, catch her on one of those, then we all of a sudden have to deal with Antropova, which is a nightmare too. But like, there is a world where we win this game, but like, as far as like the Marvel multiverse comparison, we're like 14 million, whatever. How many does Doctor Strange see where the Avengers win? It was 1. It's kind of the similar odds that I have here. And Italy is Thanos. And remember, the very first time in that series, Thanos wins.
All right.
Italy 3-1.
Fair enough. Going for the reverse psychology again. I understand. Because for me, Rob, is that it feels like I have done a poor job at picking the playoffs so far. And I almost thought about going for the United States here to kind of counteract your jinx, because it does seem like I've jinxed, China along the way, the Polish women along the way.
You did pick Türkiye this morning.
I picked Türkiye this morning. So should I go reverse?
I'm not going to tell you what to do.
You know what? If that's the case, Rob, then I just don't. I've watched a lot of these American players play a lot of finals in the past number of years, and I have to say I haven't really been impressed. Especially when I'm looking at like the Norsika Championship finals.
That was a bad one.
That was a bad one. I got to see that one in person. And you know what? They looked great up until that point, and then they really just didn't show up. So for me, Rob, I think I'm going to pick the United States of America. Also in 5.
I love it. I love it. Oh man, I absolutely love it. I hope that we get a lot of comments about this, and I hope that some people understand what's actually going on here.
I mean, there's. Can I say one thing? There is a few thousand of you who have been consistently watching every single episode, and I can't tell you how fucking awesome that has been.
It's awesome.
How amazing and so much fun it's been over the course of the past 2 weeks now, because of like how awesome that you guys have been in the chat and in the Discord and everything. So The fact that you guys want to listen to us two stooges talk about volleyball is great and incredible. I'm sure you have plenty of better things to do with your time. And like, yeah, we really appreciate it. Yes, Aussie Tragic, a few thousand, because we've been averaging like over 6,000 views an episode throughout this, which is crazy. Like that's nuts. Like that's numbers I couldn't have imagined. I remember getting stoked a few years ago that we hit 100 people in an episode, like, so yeah, I really appreciate, we really appreciate everyone watching
100%.
because like we're in like we got 3 days left. It just kind of hit me.
We've got 2 shows left, and that's I was just about to put up the schedule so that everyone knows what's going on. Tomorrow there's only one match. It is the men's bronze medal match. It is my beloved United States against Italy. We will not be doing a post-game show tomorrow.
Not even if you win?
Not even if we win.
Like, not even if you win, you don't want to go live real quick because it's an early game. Like, we could still go live and still hit the beers afterwards.
If we do, it will be a surprise.
Yeah, okay.
But we are planning on not doing a show tomorrow. Then the following day, on Saturday, we have 2 very important matches. Obviously, the first is the men's gold medal match, which God knows why it is scheduled this way. It's completely ridiculous. It's very early our time, but after that gold medal match, we will actually be doing 2 post-game shows. One pretty quick one on the Volleyball World channel, and then another much longer, much more normal one like this here on this channel. So we will do those after the men's gold medal match, not after the women's bronze medal match, because they should not be scheduled that way. And then the last show of the Olympics will be on Sunday after the women's gold medal match, but we will talk to you again before then. And yeah, Everett, I agree with you. Thank you all for consuming everything that we're doing this Olympics. We think that we are glad that you agree that what we're doing helps people consume the Olympic Games. And it's been really fun to interact with a lot of you guys.
I saw someone post, I think it was in a comment on one of our videos, they were like, I've never followed a tournament so closely before. And that to me is like what
it's all about.
Is really cool. And pretty awesome. So yeah, I really appreciate it. Also, big shout out to Melissa Humana Paredes and Brandy Wilkerson, who have qualified for the women's final in beach volleyball.
When is that?
I think tomorrow. Maybe Saturday.
Yeah. Go Canada, man. I'm rooting for you guys.
Yeah, I mean the American.
Who are you playing? Is it Latvia?
No, Latvia lost in the quarterfinals, unfortunately, because I do really like that Latvian team. It was Australia against Brazil in the other semi. Australia, Maria Clancy, Maria Faye, Artacho Solar, and Taliko Clancy, took down Sarah and Mel in the quarterfinals of Tokyo, and then also beat Sarah and Mel in the finals of the Commonwealth Games, and got silver last time, losing to April and Alex in the women's. So it was Ana Patricia and Duda of Brazil,
the Brazilians, okay,
who won, and it looks like they will be taking on Mel and Brandy at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. So
tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna have some friends over, and I think we might go watch that one in a bar and stuff like that. So I
know we don't talk about beach on the show. You're guaranteed a medal for the first time ever on the women's side, right? That's awesome.
That's huge. I mean, Mel and Brandy are both they're both athletes I consider friends. Like, we're all 92s. We all grew up kind of playing together. Not together, but like I remember being on the beach and like Mel being one of the best young players at the time and everyone knowing who she was. And then Brandy like coming on. I remember Brandy playing her first beach tournament ever with Gina Morphy down in Coburg, and watching her and being like, yo, Brandy on the beach is a little scary. Like, once again, Mel and Brandy played together at York University. I used to go up there all the time. I'd always stay with Mel's brother, Felipe, who's my boy, who I also coached with. I'm really happy for our country and for beach volleyball and all of that stuff. I think that's amazing. But to me, I couldn't be happier for 2 better people. And 2 people that I've kind of watched grow and that I admire so much. Mel being kind of that person who was always viewed to be the next best thing. I remember the first time I ever got a Volleyball Canada magazine, there was stories about Mel going down to the US and winning junior Olympics, like her and Victoria Altamar being able to win the junior Olympics, and to watch her continuously grow and have those expectations of, you know, having a dad who coached at the Olympics and all these things, and win the first world championship for Canada. And I was there actually, like, supervising the court when she won her first ever main draw match at the Quebec Open in 2011. Like, I've been there for some of the milestones for these athletes, and it's been a lot of fun. And I mean, Brandy, after she was done coaching, or when she first started playing on the World Tour with Heather Bansley after 2016, her and I were coaching together here in Toronto, and we used to sneak on the TTC together because we couldn't afford to, you know, like, get it. So it was like, hey, if we can save $3, we'll save $3. And there was so much uncertainty from her at the time. And she just didn't have that confidence. And to watch her blossom into the incredible woman and athlete that she is today, and she just oozes confidence, and you watch her play, and you just watch her walk down the street, and you're like she turns head just because of how she radiates. It's been really awesome. So I'm really, really happy for those athletes. Because of how, like, disconnected I've been from beach over the last little bit, I just kind of get to sit back and watch it as a fan almost. Of course, I'm not, like, I'm still, like, watching it, but today especially, like, as I said, I put away the USA Brazil match and just focused on them, and it was really special to watch them win. So I'm super excited, and waving the narrative to make us Canadian fans. Yeah, exactly. And on that note, if you are a beach fan and you happen to be around the Hamburg area for the Elite 16, I will be there. And if you see me, please come say hi. Would love to chat. But yeah, thanks for listening to me rant about Canadian beach volleyball. I know I don't talk about it a lot, but it does mean a lot to me. And I'm super, super, super proud of those athletes. And I can't wait to cheer them on tomorrow.
Go Canada, go USA. We got medals to win for both of our countries in the next 2 to 3 days. And I'm excited about those opportunities and to end the Olympic Games with a bang. We will see you next time, ladies and gentlemen. We love you very much.
Peace.